updated tier list video of some of the newer IEMs I tried, and let's see how they rank. So starting off, we got the Wanner. Give that a B grade. Pretty good IEM. Good bass quality, good upper mid-range, decent treble extension. So for the price, it's totally worth it. And then we got the KZ Linglong, put that in C tier. The bass felt a little average to me. And then the upper mids were nice and warm. And it has some mid bass, so it adds some warmth to middle voices. And the treble was slightly rolled off. So I do like the Wanner more than the Linglong. And then we got the IE600, put that in A tier. The IE600 is a pretty good IEM for a dynamic driver. It has better imaging than some of the cheaper options. And it has a lot of treble, which might be a problem for some, but when I heard this, the treble never got really metallic sounding. It still had a good texture, and it never sounded like it had any type of like tonality issue. It's not the best tonality because of the boost in the treble, but not bad. The bass quality on it was decent also. And then we got the Tin Hi-Fi C3. Put that in B tier. This is a pretty good IEM, guys. I mean, it costs $50. It has a really good bass texture, warm leaning, and the treble is slightly rolled off, but for a warm tune set, this is really good for the price. You just get a nice punchy bass. It sounds like it has some bounce to it. And then the treble's fine, so if you do listen to maybe louder volumes and you don't want too much treble, this is a good option. It doesn't ever really get harsh or fatiguing. And it's a good, easygoing, laid-back set. I do enjoy this. SimGot EA500, put that in C tier. The SimGot, to me, I tried changing the tips on it using the final audio tip, but the treble's still harsh. The sub bass is clearly missing, and it just sounds too peaky and metallic to me. So, was pretty average for me. Kiwi Ears Cadenza, put that in C tier. The Cadenza is a pretty decent IEM. The bass quality on it was okay. It didn't have like a really quick texture to it. It sounded a little bloomy and boomy. And then the treble sounded metallic on it. A little too harsh, too fatiguing. So, was pretty average for me. We got the Moondrop Variations. I'll put that in A tier. The Variations is a pretty good all-rounder set. Doesn't do much wrong, but after listening to it for a while, I did notice some things that I wasn't really too fond of. So the Variations does have a peak around 1.5K. So it does cost a slight bit of wonk to the overall tonality, because I could never listen to the Variations at 78 dB or 80 dB or at a particular volume level, because I always felt like the upper mid-range was thin and recessed somehow, even with that much gain in that area. So there's definitely some masking going on. And then the treble is slightly wispy. Just has this weightless character to it. But it is what it is. Still really good. A tier nonetheless. Then we have the Manger Top. I'll put that... Actually, I highly recommend this one. I'll put it in S tier, especially for the price. So let's talk about the sound real quick. So the bass is really good. Well balanced. Has a slight bit more of a mid bass in the variation, but it pops up perfectly on the top. The vocals are never thin and recessed. They're always full bodied and forward. And the treble is an improvement over the variation. So all in all, this is worth every penny, worth the blind buy even. Just take a look at the FR graph, and if you like what you see, it sounds really, really good. We got the Soft Ears RSV. I'll put that below the Variations 9600. So the Soft Ears RSV has a slight bit of BA bass. The mids for me were too forward, too shouty, and so what the thing is, when you boost the 3K region too much, all the instruments are going to be a little too forward, and it's hard to pinpoint them because it sounds like the vocals too forward. And the way IEMs work, I feel like you have to cut it around 3K because when you're listening to speakers, there's simply more space. It's not literally in your ear, so there's more space between you and the speaker to create the sense of open imaging. So you do have to cut the 3K area, and that's where Harman is a little bit limited. I don't think there's enough research for IEMs because I've tried a lot of these and I pick up on these things pretty quick. So yeah, A tier. The technical performance does need some work on the RSV. It's slightly overpriced in my opinion, but if you get a good deal on it, it's fine. We got the Oracle OG. Put that slightly bit above the RSV. I feel like the Oracle OG is an exceptional IEM for vocals. It sounds really natural. The treble is like buttery smooth, and it lacks a slight bit of extension, but I mean, the upper mid-range sounds extremely natural. The treble is smooth. The bass is on the balance side. Can't really fault it for around that price point. A lot of people will like this type of tuning. And it's decent. It's worth it. Then we got the Helios. If you guys have been watching my channel, then you would know the Helios is S tier. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I feel like I always talk about this and I don't want to repeat myself too much. So briefly, the Helios has basically dynamic driver quality bass. The upper mids are just the right amount, neutral tune, and the treble just extends for days. And for all BA set, it's pretty coherent. Even compared to the tap and the variations, the Helios is more coherent to me. And yeah, just a fantastic IEM. Worth the blind buy. All these S tier ones are worth the blind buy in my opinion. So yeah, Helios is definitely the best IEM I've heard in its price point. And it's still well tuned. Amazing. Then we got the Supernova. I'll put that slightly below the Helios. So the Supernova is just exceptional. It has some of the best tonality I've heard in an IEM. It sounds extremely natural. So vocals are never shouty. They're full-bodied, well-textured. The treble extension on this IEM is amazing. It's never harsh, never sharp, but it extends perfectly. So I don't know how they pulled off the treble for the Supernova, but it's some of the best quality I've ever heard. Probably top 3. And I wasn't in the honeymoon phase because I first heard it. I was already shocked. But after listening to it for some time, I still think whatever I said is true. Just exceptional. Yeah, these 3 get my highest recommendations. And they're using BAs in here, so I do think all BA sets are better. Yeah, the Supernova doesn't have a lot of boost, but it's still very well balanced. So the Supernova sounds very coherent, much more coherent to me than the Tap, the Variations, the Oracle. It's just in a different league. And for $750, $790 to have this type of performance, it is kind of expensive maybe, but it is worth the price. After you listen to it, the way it sounds, directly comparing it with some of the other $500 IEM, the performance is here, guys. And then the Helios, just the best BA bass, competes with U12T, whatever you throw at it, $3,000 IEMs. The bass is here, guys. So if you're a bass head, Helios would probably be it. But if you want it to be balanced, like a BA, exceptional. If you like a warm sound, get the Tin Hi-Fi C3. Really, really good. Not fatiguing. Good texture in the bass. Very nice. Wanner, more neutral tune set. If you like prioritize more cleaner vocals, good option. And then if you want to try a DD, maybe IE600. Variations for Harmon tune, but there are some issues with it. RSV if you want the most forward vocals. Manger Tap, the best option at around $500 currently in my opinion. Definitely worth the look. And then Supernova is just a step up over all of these other IEMs. And then the Helios is just the Helios. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I got a lot of questions, so I wanted to cover it. And that's all I have for you guys today. And I'll see you guys in the next one.